Hello, this is a short video I'm going to put up to talk about how I fixed my Samsung 2017 Gear 360 camera. Now, I got this camera as a free gift when I bought my Galaxy Note 8. And when I got it originally, I couldn't get it to power on, and I managed to plug it into some power adapter and hold down the record button for 10 seconds, and I got the charging light to come on, and it worked, and I used it for a couple months. And then I took it on a trip last October, and I used it extensively there, and then I didn't use it for about 9 months. So a couple weeks ago, I decided, well, I'm going to pull out that camera because we're going to go on vacation soon, and I kind of wanted to use it. And it was dead. It wouldn't power up. I couldn't get it to charge. I couldn't get it to do anything. And I tried literally every charger I have. I've got Samsung high capacity chargers. I've got Apple chargers. I tried it even in my car. I've tried, powering it off different types of chargers, plugging it into my MacBook, everything. Nothing would get this thing to charge. I mean, the battery was so flat, it wouldn't even take a charge, nor would it even, it just wouldn't power on, it wouldn't do anything. It was completely dead. I even took the camera apart to see if there was damage inside, which these things are a pain in the butt to take apart. But I didn't see any damage, didn't see any bad contacts, nothing. So I went through everything. I couldn't get it to work, and I was kind of resolved to just say, okay, well, it was a free gift. It was part of the promotion they were having, and I guess I got a bad one, and it just didn't stay. The internal battery failed, or something inside the circuitry failed, and I hadn't used it for 9 months. So I recently got a new MacBook. I got a brand new MacBook, and 2018 MacBook Pro, and it comes with this new charger. This is an 87 watt charger, and it's all USB-C. And I was sitting here this morning, and I go, you know what? This thing puts out 87 watts of power. I'm going to plug the USB high capacity or high output charger into this camera and see if I can get the battery to charge. So I plugged it in, and I held down the record button for 20 seconds, which all the other videos say to do, and nothing. Still no charge light. And while I was holding down that record button, I pressed the power button, and the orange light blinked for like 1 second and then turned back off. So I know it was getting some kind of power from this charger. And I was like, that's interesting. So, and as long as I held down the power button, I could get it to do various things. I could get it to, as long as I held down the record button, I could keep pressing the power button and getting the power button to blink on and blink off. So I decided, you know what, I'm just going to let it sit. So I left it sit on the actual charger for, maybe 10, 15 minutes. And I was going about my work. I work from home. And all of a sudden, I heard a little tone. And I look over, and the display is on the camera. I didn't turn it on, but it just powered up on its own. That's interesting. And so I just kind of left it alone. I didn't want to mess with it. If it was starting to charge, I was going to let it charge. And I left it for about a better part of an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And it just had the battery display on the front that showed it was charging, and the light was on the side. And after about an hour and a half, I unplugged the Apple MacBook 15 charger, and the camera worked. It came on. It showed me the battery was fully charged. I was able to connect it to my Samsung Galaxy Note 8. I was able to record video. And then what I did was, because I had never done any updates on this camera, I'd only used it for a brief time, I installed the latest firmware update from Samsung and pushed it to the camera. Before, when I was recording in 4K video, I could only record for maybe 10 minutes, and the camera would then go into overheat mode and stop working. As I started this video, it was still recording, and it looked like it got to about 30 minutes before it finally went into thermal shutdown this time. So a couple notes. One, I don't know if they've improved the firmware, and maybe they've upped the temperature before it goes into shutdown mode. I'm in the house, with air conditioning on, the same I've done the test before, where I only got to 10 minutes. The one thing I did change this time was I was not charging the battery while I was trying to record 4K. And I think that extends the time that you can record for before it overheats. Now, I know people say, well, it's probably your SD card. Well, I'm actually using the recommended Samsung SD card that they show in their documentation. I'm using the exact same card. It's a genuine card. And it still overheats. But I think it overheats faster when you're charging the battery at the same time. So I think the heat generated from the battery charge plus the heat generated from recording 4K makes it stop working in about 10 minutes. Without charging the battery, I'm able to get about a half hour before it actually goes into thermal shutdown, which for most 4K video, that's plenty. You're not ever going to usually record more than 30 minutes at a time. When you're trying to do 360 video, no one's going to watch your video for more than 30 minutes pretty much. But anyway, I thought it was interesting that, this Mac charger was able to revive what I was assuming was a completely dead Galaxy 360 2017 model camera. And like I said, I tried every single charger I had. I tried plugging it into my old MacBook, my new MacBook. I tried plugging it into car chargers. I've got an Anker high capacity car charger, which, charges my phone from dead to full in like 90 minutes. Nothing, absolutely nothing would charge this thing. I've even got my old trusty Power Brick. The interesting thing about the Power Brick is when you plug something into it, it won't power on until you press the button on the side. And when you press the button on the side, then it detects what it's attached to, and then it starts charging. And you can see it, the lights will blink, and you'll know it's charging. If I plug this camera, before I fixed it, if I plug the camera into here and press the button to charging, the light would come on, and then it would turn off like it didn't detect anything was even connected. Like nothing in the camera was drawing juice to trigger the circuitry in here that there was something connected, and this battery would turn off. So that made me assume that there was something just fundamentally dead inside of the camera. So, long story short, my point here is if you want to try to get your Gear 360 2017 model working again, and you know someone who has one of these chargers, or you have one yourself, or you can borrow one, try it. Plug it in, hold down the button, let it sit, and just let it sit, because I didn't get the orange charging light when I first plugged it in. I didn't get the orange charging light after I held the buttons. Only when I was holding that record button down and I pressed the power button did the orange light come on for a brief single blink. So I knew something was happening. And then I just had to let it sit. Like I said, I think the battery inside was in such a dead state that it physically was not, the circuitry wasn't turning on to enable it to charge. And I think something with this super 87 watt charger was able to push through that and get some charge into the battery and get the charging into the battery enough that the circuitry in the camera then recognized the battery correctly, and then it started to charge. That's my theory. I can't prove it because now it's working, but give it a try if you're stuck in the same boat mine was and you just thought you just had a little boat anchor here. Anyway, have a great day. Thanks for listening.